Have you ever truly considered that the very chair you're sitting in right now is simultaneously your greatest enemy and your best ally? It's a paradox, isn't it? In a world obsessed with comfort, our bodies are suffering like never before. Back pain has become so common, we just accept it as normal. But what if I told you there is one simple exercise, one you can do right in your seat, that has the power not just to ease that discomfort, but to help you forget about back pain entirely? In this video, I'm not just going to show you a movement. I'm going to reveal a secret: how to turn your chair from a silent torture device into a personal spine-strengthening machine. I guarantee you, after seeing this, you will never sit the same way again. Let's just rewind the clock for a moment. For hundreds of thousands of years, the human body was built for motion. We ran, we jumped, we hunted, we gathered. Our spines and our muscles were perfectly adapted to constant dynamic movement. Then came the Industrial Revolution, followed swiftly by the digital age, and we sat down, first for 8 hours a day, then 10, and now it often feels like we are sitting almost constantly. Our bodies have become trapped. The muscles designed to hold our back straight and strong began to weaken and waste away. Our vertebrae, instead of moving freely, became compressed under the weight of our own bodies, and the pain, that dull ache, the sharp twinge, the constant nagging, became our steady companion. We try to fight it with creams, with massages, with expensive braces, but all of this is just treating the symptoms. The root cause lies much deeper. It's in the loss of crucial muscular control. And today, we are going to take that control back. Right, let's face facts, shall we? Back pain isn't just a temporary niggle, is it? It's become a silent epidemic of the 21st century. The statistics are quite stark. Up to 80% of adults globally have experienced a sharp bout of lower back pain at least once in their lifetime. For far too many of us, this turns into a chronic problem that seriously impacts our quality of life, affects our mood, and absolutely drags down our energy levels. We tend to think this is just something that happens to older people, or perhaps those doing heavy manual work. But nowadays, doctors' surgeries are increasingly seeing young office staff, IT professionals and freelancers, people whose main tools are, quite literally, a computer and a chair. The real issue is that we ignore the early warning signs, that slight ache in your lower back by the end of the day, the urge to keep shifting your position, that tension creeping up into your neck. We simply chalk this up to tiredness, but actually it's our body literally crying out for help. It's a signal that the supportive system for your spine, that crucial muscular core, is no longer coping with the strain, and if we don't take action over time, this can lead to far more serious consequences than just a bit of discomfort. When your back starts playing up, what's the first thing we usually do? Exactly. We pop down to the chemist for some pain relief cream or a packet of tablets. That gives you temporary relief, of course, but it's really just like sticking a plaster over the engine warning light in your car. The underlying problem hasn't gone anywhere, has it? Another popular method is wearing a back brace or a corset. It seems sensible enough. It supports the spine. It takes the strain off. But this is where the sneaky trap lies. By constantly relying on that external crutch, we actually weaken our own muscles even more. They simply switch off and waste away through lack of use. The moment you take that brace off, the pain comes flooding back, usually worse than before, because your back is now even less able to cope. Then you have those who start trying random exercises they found online, maybe a few twists or bending stretches, but without a proper understanding of your body's mechanics, and crucially, without the right technique, those exercises can genuinely do more harm than good, aggravating the whole situation. Now, all these methods have one thing in common. They treat the symptom, not the cause. And the real cause? It's often weak, deep stabilizer muscles. And those, my friends, are exactly the muscles we are going to start waking up today. Picture a skyscraper. Its real strength and stability don't come from a fancy exterior. They rely entirely on a deep, solid foundation, and that crucial internal framework. Well, our spine is exactly like that building, and the role of that internal framework is played by what we call the muscular core. Now, this isn't just about the abdominal muscles everyone focuses on. This is a complex system, a sophisticated network of muscles that wraps around your torso like supportive ropes, securing you from the front, the back, and the sides. It includes the deep abdominals, the oblique muscles, the back stabilizers, and critically, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor muscles. When all these parts work together, they generate internal pressure. Think of it as an inflatable cushion, supporting and stabilizing your spine from the inside out. This takes an enormous amount of strain off your spinal discs and joints, protecting them from unnecessary wear and tear and potential injury. A strong, functional core is the key not just to a healthy back, but also to excellent posture, an easier gait, and believe it or not, even genuine confidence. Unfortunately, most people are entirely unaware that this internal framework exists, let alone how to properly engage and manage it. Now let's delve a little deeper. Inside our core framework, we have the real, hidden powerhouses, the deep, stabilizing muscles. You can't see them in the mirror, and you certainly won't get six-pack abs from training them. But they are responsible for 90% of your overall spinal health. We are primarily talking about the transversus abdominis and the multifidus muscles in your back. The transversus abdominis is your body's natural internal corset. It wraps around your waist like a broad, sturdy belt. The multifidus muscles are tiny, yet incredibly strong, bundles that run between neighbouring vertebrae, essentially linking them together into one stable, cohesive structure. For most people who lead a sedentary lifestyle, these crucial muscles are essentially sleeping. They are dormant. They don't receive the necessary workload. They lose their tone, and they simply stop performing their crucial stabilizing function. As a result, all the strain shifts onto the superficial muscles and eventually the spine itself. This is the root cause of the majority of back issues we face. Our goal today is to specifically target these sleeping guardians, wake them up, and get them back to work. This requires precise, subtle work. It demands concentration, not brute strength. Right then, I hope I've got your attention now. It's time to introduce you to the hero of the hour. This particular exercise is so beautifully simple that its brilliance might just slip past you initially. I've named it the seated axial decompression. Now please don't worry about complicated names or long technical jargon. The heart of this movement is completely intuitive. This isn't a strenuous workout in the conventional sense. There's no need for gym gear, a fancy mat, or heavy weights. All you actually require is yourself and a sturdy chair. The seated axial decompression is an exercise focused entirely on activating those deep, stabilizing muscles in your core and generating decompression. Or, to put it simply, relieving the compression on your intervertebral discs. Imagine your individual vertebrae are like a neat stack of coins. Throughout the day, purely through the effect of gravity, that stack becomes compressed. This exercise allows you to gently lengthen that stack, creating valuable space between those coins, which helps nourish your discs and instantly lifts the pressure off any sensitive nerve endings. It really is a wonderful combination. A small training session, a moment of self-massage, and a calming meditation, available anytime, anywhere. Let's look closely at why this seemingly simple movement is so incredibly effective. The real key, or perhaps the magic, if you like, lies entirely in the biomechanics. When we perform this axial extension, we are essentially counteracting the main force that works against our spine all day long, gravity. When we sit, we passively slump or slouch downwards, compressing the spine. By doing this exercise, we create an active, opposing force. We deliberately lengthen the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head, almost as if you were trying to grow taller by a couple of inches. This vertical force vector, aimed straight upwards, forces the deep postural muscles, specifically, to engage. The more superficial muscles, interestingly, play very little role here. Activating the multifidus muscles stabilizes every single segment of the spine. Meanwhile, the contraction of the transverse abdominis creates that crucial protective intra-abdominal pressure. The result? The spine straightens, the intervertebral discs get a welcome breath of space, and their hydration and nutrient supply vastly improve. Doing this exercise regularly retrains your nervous system. It teaches it to maintain that correct, elongated posture automatically, thus forming a new healthy spinal habit for the long terms. Right then, before we dive into the actual technique, we must get our home gym sorted, and that means choosing the correct chair. Yes, this really is crucial. The ideal choice is just a standard office or kitchen chair. Nothing fancy, but it needs a firm seat and a straight back. A soft armchair that you sink into simply won't do, as it won't give your pelvis the stable support we absolutely need. Safety first. The chair must be rock steady and must not wobble. The height of the chair is absolutely key. Sit down and check that both your feet are planted firmly on the floor and your thighs are running parallel to the ground. Your knees should be bent at a rough 90-degree angle, a perfect right angle. If the chair is too tall and your feet are left dangling, just pop some heavy books or a dedicated footstool underneath them. Conversely, if the chair is too low and your knees are higher than your hips, place a cushion or a neatly rolled towel on the seat to raise yourself up. Remember, your pelvis is the crucial starting point for aligning your entire spine. So, please take a few moments to properly adjust your setup before we begin. This is an investment in your future health, and it will pay dividends 10 times over. Right, now that our chair is set up, let's move into the ideal starting position. Achieving this initial setup is genuinely half the battle. You need to sit towards the front edge of the chair, perhaps on the first third. And this is important. Please do not lean against the backrest. The back of the chair is a temptation. It encourages your muscles to completely switch off and disengage. Our main objective here is to encourage them to work. Place your feet flat on the floor, parallel to each other, maintaining a hip-width distance. Truly feel the support across the whole surface of your foot. As we previously discussed, your knees should be bent comfortably at a right angle. Now, for the most crucial element, the pelvis. Place your hands on your hip bones and gently rock forwards and backwards. Your goal is to find that perfect neutral position. This is the position where you are sitting evenly balanced, directly upon your sight bones, those bony points you can feel right beneath your buttocks. Make sure you don't roll back onto your tailbone, and similarly, don't arch too aggressively forward in your lower back. Imagine your pelvis is a bowl filled with water. You need to position this bowl so that the water doesn't spill either forward or backward. Your spine, from the base of your pelvis right up to the crown of your head, should be aligned in one single, straight line. Shoulders are gently relaxed, rolled back, and dropped downwards. This is your ideal, fundamental starting position. The very first step in this exercise isn't actually a movement at all. It's an internal sensation we call grounding and activation. Remaining in your perfect starting posture, just close your eyes for a few seconds and tune into your body. Feel those feet firmly rooted on the floor. Sense your weight resting squarely on your sit bones, your strong, reliable foundation. Now gently bring your attention down to the area just below your navel. Take a nice, calm exhale, and as you breathe out gently, without excessive effort, draw those lower abdominal muscles in, as if you're trying to connect your belly button to your backbone. Now this is important. It should not be a sharp or forceful tensing. This is a very subtle, deep contraction. A good way to imagine it is, think about putting on a pair of slightly snug jeans, and you have to gently hold your tummy in just to get that zip up. Crucially, your breathing should remain steady, and your shoulders and chest should stay relaxed. You should feel a light tension developing deep in your core. That specific feeling is the activation of your transverse abdominis muscle. Hold this activation for a few seconds. Just get used to how that feels. Keeping a gentle engagement in your lower abdomen, we now transition to the second step, the lengthening itself. Take a calm, Slow inhale through your nose. On this inhalation, visualize an invisible string attached to the crown of your head, gently drawing you upwards toward the ceiling. Feel your body begin to grow. Your spine stretches upwards, vertebra by vertebra. It's crucial to understand that this is not a movement of the shoulders or neck. Keep your shoulders soft, dropped, and completely relaxed. The movement originates deep in the base of the spine and travels like a wave all the way up to the top of your head. You should sense an increase in the space between your ribs and your pelvis. Your torso is lengthening, and your waistline is becoming more defined. Picture yourself as a smoothly extending telescopic antenna, or perhaps a rapidly growing stalk of bamboo. Visualization is extremely helpful here. The goal is not to arch the lower back, but to lengthen strictly vertically, creating deep axial elongation throughout your entire spinal column. The motion should be continuous, controlled, and produce a pleasant sensation of stretching and decompression. The third step is the hold at the peak, what the professionals call an isometric hold. Once you reach your maximum comfortable stretch, on the inhale, gently hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds. This is the moment when your body is at its peak activation. Keep that mental image of reaching the crown of your head right up to the ceiling, maintaining that sense of height and growth. Crucially, do not hold your breath here. Keep breathing calmly and smoothly. Now focus entirely on what you feel. What sensations are we looking for? A gentle tension all the way along your spine, especially between your shoulder blades. A pleasant stretch around your waist. That wonderful feeling of being taller, and perhaps even a bit straighter and slimmer. What should you not feel? Any pain or real discomfort in your lower back? Tension in your shoulders or neck? If your shoulders feel tight, it means you're trying to lift yourself with your shoulders instead of simply reaching with the top of your head. Relax them and let them drop down. If you notice discomfort in your lower back, you might be arching too much. Simply draw your abdomen in slightly and tuck your tailbone down a little. This holding phase is absolutely crucial for waking up and strengthening those important deep stability muscles. And finally, step 4, the slow and controlled return to your starting position. This stage is absolutely crucial, just as important as the stretch itself. Many people make the mistake of simply letting their body flop down after they've held the position. Please don't rush this. The return movement needs to be just as slow and as controlled as when you went up. Take a lovely, slow, steady exhale out through your mouth. And on that outward breath, allow yourself to unfurl, vertebra by tiny vertebra, coming smoothly back to your neutral starting position. Imagine you are gently folding a telescope, or maybe an old radio aerial, nice and slow. Maintain control all the way down. We don't want any plunking or collapsing here. You are simply guiding yourself back to your initial starting stance, maintaining that lovely alignment. Once you reach the bottom, take a second to relax fully, but still hold that good posture. One complete cycle, the inhale with the stretch, the hold, and the exhale back down, counts as just one repetition. Remember, the real secret to this exercise lies in keeping it slow and completely mindful. This isn't a competition. Think of it as a gentle, continuous conversation with your own body. Let's take a moment now to focus specifically on the breath, because it plays such a crucial role in this particular movement. The breathing isn't just background noise. Think of it as the conductor guiding the entire process. Incorrect breathing can really undermine all the benefits of the exercise, so let's keep this simple rule of thumb in mind. As you breathe in, you stretch or lengthen. As you breathe out, you return or relax. We take our inhale slowly and deeply through the nose. Try to send that air not just into your chest or rib cage, but also down into your tummy, expanding into your sides and your lower back. Visualize your whole torso expanding outward in all directions like a hot air balloon as you breathe in. This is what we call diaphragmatic breathing. It helps activate those deep core muscles and creates gentle internal pressure, which is fantastic for supporting your spine. Now the exhale should be slow and controlled through the mouth, perhaps with slightly pursed lips, almost as if you are gently blowing out a candle. This controlled exhale helps you manage the return movement and maintain that gentle engagement of your abdominal muscles. Crucially, please do not hold your breath or strain at any point, especially during the sustained hold phase. Your breathing must remain continuous and calm throughout the entire exercise. Try your best to perfectly synchronize the rhythm of the movement with the rhythm of your own breath. When you manage that, the exercise truly transforms into a moving meditation. Right, now that we've covered the perfect technique, let's talk about the most common mistakes we often see. Mistake number 1, letting your lower back arch. When people try to stretch and lengthen upwards, instead of truly extending, they often instinctively push their lower back too far back. This isn't just incorrect form, it can actually be quite dangerous because it puts undue pressure or compression right onto the back of your spinal discs. So, how do we fix this? First, always remember that gentle activation of your deep core muscles, the ones we talk about like zipping up a tight pair of jeans. This will stop your pelvis from tilting forward and prevent that troublesome arching in your back. Secondly, use the right mental image. You are not trying to bend backwards like a young gymnast. Instead, think about growing straight up, vertically, like a tall tree. Imagine your entire spine is pressed flat against an invisible wall. If you still feel any discomfort or strain, just reduce how far you move. It is far better to do a small movement correctly than a big stretch where you're arching your back. Always remember this. Quality is so much more important than how much you do or how big the movement is. A second common mistake we often see is letting the shoulders creep up towards your ears, which we call shrugging. When we instruct you to reach up or lengthen your spine, many people instinctively engage their shoulder muscles, their traps, and literally squeeze their head down into their shoulders. This is fundamentally incorrect. That movement just piles unnecessary tension onto your neck and shoulder area, and it certainly won't help you lengthen your spine properly. Throughout this entire exercise, your shoulders should remain dropped and relaxed. They need to stay as far away from your ears as possible. To help you get this right, before you start, roll your shoulders back and down a couple of times. Imagine you are gently tucking your shoulder blades neatly into the back pockets of your trousers or jeans. Remember that position. As you start to lengthen, continuously monitor your posture to ensure those shoulders don't start creeping back up. If they do sneak up, simply pause, drop them down again, and then restart the movement gently. The key driver here must always be the crown of your head, not your shoulders. Visualize your shoulders as heavy weights, perhaps like anchors, pulling your arms down towards the floor, while the crown of your head is reaching straight up towards the ceiling. This sensory contrast will really help you execute the movement correctly and comfortably. Now, the third mistake, and arguably the most damaging one, is rushing the movement, or simply speed. We've all gotten used to rushing things in this busy, modern world. But when it comes to this particular exercise, that approach simply won't work. Doing the axial elongation quickly, or with sudden jerks, turns it from a genuine therapeutic movement into meaningless stretching, and worse, it could actually cause you harm. The real secret to its effectiveness lies in moving slowly and maintaining absolute control throughout the movement. It's this slow, measured pace that manages to recruit the slow-twitch muscle fibers, the ones that primarily make up our crucial deep core stabilizers. These deep muscles are simply not designed for fast or explosive work. Their domain is stability, static holds, and slow controlled dynamic movement. Furthermore, only when you move slowly will you be able to truly focus on perfect technique, monitor all the subtle nuances of the movement, and properly feel those target muscles working. So I want you to completely forget about speed. Every single repetition should take you a minimum of 10 to 15 seconds. Break it down like this: 4 to 5 seconds to inhale and stretch up, 3 to 5 seconds for a steady hold, and then 4 to 5 seconds to exhale, and gently return to the starting position. Treat this exercise as your own personal ritual, a moment of calm and true mindfulness, right there in the middle of your day. Right then, we've got the technique and the common mistakes sorted. Now let's talk about the big question: how often and how much should you actually be doing? Consistency is absolutely key here. Remember, it's not about breaking records. The ideal way to approach this is to do the exercise a few times, spread out throughout the day. It's far better to do, say, 3 sets of 5 to 7 repetitions 3 times a day, rather than trying to power through 25 repetitions all at once. Start small, honestly. If you're just beginning, 2 or 3 sets of 5 to 7, very deliberate, slow repetitions is plenty. Try 1 set first thing in the morning, just to switch on your back for the day. Do another one midway through the day to release any built-up tension, and then a final set in the evening, just to ease your spine before you head to bed, sonny. Over time, as your muscles strengthen and you start getting a better feel for your body, you can certainly increase the repetitions up to 10 or 12 per set, or perhaps just add another set or 2 during the day. The main guide here, above all else, should be how you feel. The exercise should give you a sense of pleasant stretching and a nice, light muscular working, not pain or overwhelming fatigue. Listen to your body, and it will absolutely tell you what the perfect workload is. The hardest part of any beneficial routine is turning it into a genuine habit. So how do you fit axial elongation into your busy schedule? The secret is to anchor this new practice to an activity you already do automatically. For example, you could commit to doing this exercise every time you sit down at your desk. You sit, you do 5 repetitions, or perhaps every time you finish replying to a lengthy email. Hit send, then do 5 reps. A wonderful approach is to use a timer, like the Pomodoro technique. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. Use those 5 minutes of rest to complete your set. You can also incorporate this exercise during phone calls that don't require your absolute concentration, or during online meetings when you are simply listening. The main thing is to make this action as simple and accessible as possible. There's no need to change clothes. There's no need to go to the gym. Your chair is always right there. Set a simple reminder on your phone, or perhaps stick a note on your monitor. After just a couple of weeks of consistent effort, this movement will become second nature. You will start doing it automatically the moment you feel even the slightest tension or discomfort in your back. What should you expect right at the start? It's important to have realistic expectations. Don't expect a miracle after the very first session. In these first few days, you'll probably feel an unusual tension in muscles you didn't even know you had, especially the ones between your shoulder blades and deep in your tummy, your core. Now that is a really good sign. It means you've successfully reached those sleeping muscles and they're finally starting to wake up. You might get a slight ache or muscle soreness, like after a proper workout. This is perfectly normal and will usually disappear within a day or 2. The main thing is, don't stop now. After just 1 week of regular practice, you should notice the first positive changes. You'll start holding yourself straight much more easily, without even having to consciously think about it. That feeling of tiredness and tension in your lower back will decrease towards the end of the day. You might even notice that you seem a little taller. That's not your imagination. It's simply your spine decompressing and finding its natural length. But perhaps the most important thing is how your overall sense of self will change. You'll start to feel and control your body better, and that is the first vital step towards completely conquering the pain. It's crucial to understand that the seated axial extension is much more than just a simple exercise. It is the key that unlocks the door to genuine body awareness and proper posture. Once you perform it, you gain that gold standard feeling of a perfectly straight, elongated spine. And your primary task is simply to try and hold onto that sensation for as long as possible throughout your day. You'll start noticing the exact moments when you slouch, allowing you to consciously correct yourself. This exercise literally rewires your brain and your muscle memory. It teaches your body a new, correct movement pattern, a healthy default setting. In time, sitting tall will become your most natural and comfortable state, and you will find that slouching actually starts feeling uncomfortable. This movement provides the solid foundation upon which you can build the future health of your back. Once those deep stabilizing muscles are strong, you can safely introduce other, more challenging exercises. But honestly, even if you only ever do this one single movement, provided you do it consistently and correctly, you will have done more for your back than 90% of people on this planet. Right then, let's just quickly sum up what we've covered. We've established that the root cause of most back pain isn't some strange or mysterious ailment, but simply the weakening of those crucial, deep stabilizing muscles, often brought on by our sedentary habits. And we've found an elegant, simple, and truly effective solution: the seated axial extension exercise. We went through it step by step, covering everything from choosing the right chair to mastering your breath. You now know the main secret is not about brute strength, but careful control, not about speed, but genuine awareness and mindfulness. Just this one movement done regularly has the power to relieve compression on the spine, gently wake up those sleeping muscles, and retrain your body to maintain a healthy posture automatically. Remember, your chair doesn't just have to be your enemy. It can, in fact, become your greatest ally on the path to a pain-free back. Thank you so much for sticking with me and watching this video right to the end. I truly hope you found it helpful. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes. Now, I have a question for all of you. How do you usually handle that midday fatigue or pain in your back? Do you have any tried and tested methods of your own? Please share your experience in the comments below. Let's start a conversation and help one another.